Hey, cheers, mates. Despite the title of the video, I would like to just quickly say that it goes also the other way. I hate, for example, when people say stuff like universal healthcare is communism.
You just beat up some old man because he was wearing a red hat.
Fucking Christ.
That's not a Nazi. I actually taught Nazis when I was back in the day, many years ago. There were a couple of them in my class, and they had the swastikas and the tattoos. They were from the prison system, where you sort of have to join a gang of some sort to kind of survive. Hey, I tell you right now, these guys were scary dudes,
Right.
and those little jackasses in the little black hoodies would never have gone up against these guys and threatened them. So you're not really fighting real Nazis at all. You're just picking on easy targets, people that you think that you can kowtow because they're smaller, they're older, or something like that,
Or
and
you outnumber them 10-1.
outnumber them 10-1. And so there's this sort of this they consider themselves like these iron warriors, but ultimately, um, you're a bunch of cowards. And it just drives me crazy that they have to label these poor victims as Nazis to sort of justify, in my opinion, just their inner desire to beat people up. I think they're bullies. I think they're street yard bullies that were too small to bully people when they were in high school. And now they've got a whole bunch of people together with them, and now they're going to go out looking for people to beat up. And this whole thing about these are fascists we're fighting. No, I don't believe it. I don't even know if they even believe that. I think they're just labeling them that to justify in their own minds this inner need to victimize people.
Well, it shows how little time they've actually spent talking to real fascists. That's the
Mhm.
reason why I went and talked to the head of the Nazi party, and just to really understand what his ideology is, and ironically, more to the point, to learn why a lot of people are not actually fascists that people are calling fascists, because they don't even understand what the term means. And the funny thing is if you look up the term, even the scholarly articles can't quite get a really good definition for fascism that they can nail down. And I think that makes it the perfect word, because that means they can make it mean whatever they want it to mean. And that helps you when you're witch hunting. If you can, oh, well, the devil manifested this way now. You see that person's a fascist. And then they throw the word Nazi around so easily. Like there was an episode of Bill Maher because Bill Maher doesn't really know what happened to Gino Carano. He doesn't know much about it, but he's been calling out hypocrisy on the left a lot lately. And one of his panelists was a former senator, and she's like, she's a Nazi. I'm like, Gina Carano's not a Nazi. It's like, and even Bill, because he doesn't know her very well, he's like, I don't think she's a Nazi. You're going a little far there. But everybody's a Nazi now. Well, what do you need to do to qualify to be a Nazi? Disagree with me if I'm discussing critical race theory. You must be a Nazi. Disagree with me if I'm discussing any part of the woke ideology with you. You must be a Nazi or a white supremacist. You're upholding white supremacy. They throw those labels out. Like I call it the shotgun of oppression, is that they'll throw all of the labels at you. Now you're racist, sexist, homophobic, white, just like they go down the line. And because people don't want to be called that, it has some weight. What's funny to me is that if we were in a truly racist society, calling people racist wouldn't have any weight at all. Nobody would care that somebody was called a racist if we actually lived in a racist society. But they do.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Can I just a little bit of a personal, like on that when I hear people basically calling be it U.S. cops or something like that Nazis or that guys, whoever's saying that, you actually hurting, like definitely me and plenty of other people here in Europe, because you have no idea what you're talking about. Just a quick, basically one of many monstrosities, like what actual Nazis did was that they executed 78 of my countrymen kids. I will, like if later in my video I will show their memorial to illustrate, how monstrous that was. And I'm talking literal babies, and they executed them in like in such a form that they crammed them in in trucks in the back of in cargo holds. They put exhaust vents, like into that from the exhaust, and they started the engine. It was long, it was cruel. The kids were dying long minutes, and they seen other kids die in like the same fate. You want to tell me at any single point that is what you are exposed to in the United States of America?
Right.
Not even remotely. And just, like wherever I hear it, like it literally, it hurts. You know what I mean? And I'm not fucking trying to play here some victim or some shit like that. But, like I was at the memorial and I full on when basically, so I understand they had like today's kids reading letters from those kids that the Nazis, they forced them with a submachine gun at the head, like write to your grandparents that you're okay, etc., etc. Like, and these, kids were reading those letters, and I lasted only one. It was so heartbreaking, and just when I then hear it, like from the United States, from literally, like calling on cops that are literally just standing and, for example, guarding a building. Yeah, boys, like if they would be Nazis, they would literally call a tank, like the nearest Panzer, and they would just mow you down. And if you would survive, they would just run you over with the tank, like squash you, like to pasta.
Hey, cheers, mates. It's Paul again. And just before the video will proceed, I would like to say I originally planned to put in a scene from a Russian movie that I was thinking when I said this, to basically illustrate to you what I mean, how it really looked. But I had a quite strong emotional reaction to it, and I figured it would probably illustrate better how we feel about this than just the scene.
Das ist ein Hospital. Hier sind Kranke. Raus hier!
Давай назад. Здесь не прорвемся.
Well, here's another contrast, real quick. Why are the Nazis the ones calling for free speech?
Yeah, no kidding. And I also,
There you go.
like, well, this guy's a Nazi. Really? Well, what's the most Nazi thing this person's ever done? Well, they try to open up a burrito truck and
Like,
they're not even Mexican. and
now
ultimately,
imagine how we feel in Europe when we fucking hear that shit. You know what I mean? When you compare, like regular people to Nazis, it's just like, fuck you, honestly, guys. Fuck you, like that.
Yeah, I would suggest asking them, like, what is the most Nazi thing that person ever did? Don't tell me about what they think. I mean, behavior. What was the most Nazi thing they ever did? And they'll just stare at you.
That's the first, and with the commies and stuff like that. And I'm sorry, with the regular people basically doing terrible things. I don't know if you follow the channel World War II on YouTube. They make basically World War II in a real time, how it happened week by week, and they have sub-series War Against Humanity, where they go into basically the the crimes against humanity from all the sides, both allies and the Axis. And one of the things they were mentioning specifically that stand out, that, for example, the executioners, literally the people that were from the Nazis, and they were shooting both men, women, and kids, literal babies. They were burying them alive sometimes. That the guys needed to get completely loaded. They needed to get drunk, high on drugs, because they could not do it sober, but they were still believing it's for the greater good. So basically, if regular people can lie to themselves to such a degree that you can kill a baby, every one of us has this capacity to lie to ourselves, and we cannot basically judge if we are good people based on our motivations, but based on our methods.
Right.